What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Pros and Cons. United in another game full of events, mistakes, lots of goals, questionable decisions, and much more. We are dragging ourselves slowly across that line, aren't we? Very, very slowly. A win is a win. There's a few positives, a good few positives to discuss, in fairness. But it goes without saying with this team, and as everyone will know, there is a couple of repetitive mistakes that we keep on making and such other things. And so we're going to get into we're going to pick the bones of the game last night first and foremost, but we also have some breaking news towards the end as well, which I want to discuss. But yeah, welcome to a very rare live pros and cons. Usually I kind of pre-record these and edit it, but I'm doing a live version today, so hopefully you enjoy it. Please do leave a like on the video for us, smash a like on the TikTok. You won't be able to see the graphics if you are on TikTok, but I thought I'd go live on both anyway, to kind of get that interaction and speak to that kind of community as well. So, are we ready for the first topic? Let's dive into it. I've got everything prepared here. Are you ready? Stupid mistakes. Stupid mistakes. And you know exactly who I'm going to reference straight away. Andre Onana with a silly hospital pass to the fullback to concede. Absolutely zero awareness at the time. You know, the pass puts him under at the tiniest bit of pressure. I want to say about 5% of pressure. But even still, he needs to deal with that. You know, you've been brought in for your distribution. That was the whole thing. You know, the whole argument and why the fan base was in like a bit of an uproar, to be honest, was because David De Gea's shot stopping was phenomenal. It wasn't in his last season. He made a few mistakes himself, but we brought Onana in because it's like, right, we want to start playing out from the back now. All modern teams do it. Let's see what minerals. Let's see what he's got. Dave saying is the pros. There is pros. There's pros. You know, I'll get into them towards the end, but there is. Don't worry about that. We always start with the negatives on pros and cons. So yeah, Onana, silly awareness. Shit distribution. I'm actually surprised how poor he's been. Again, the kind of tacticians and nerds may argue that it was, you know, that if you look at the position of the left back and this or whatever, it's like, I don't care. The guy's just, you know, he's played a penalty pass to his full back and cost us a goal, basically. I don't know the actual figure alone, but just from the keeper, in terms of mistakes this season, I'm talking, it's got to be pretty bad, right? If you look at the Champions League campaign, you look at throughout the season, there has been a lot of individual errors. And then when you start to calculate it as a full team, it's like, oh my God. Even in the game last night, you look at Garnacho giving it away and they nearly score from it. You know, there was a few opportunities where we just like, you know, like, you know what, I go back to like pre-season, yeah? This is how far I remember for when it kind of, I mean, we've always made mistakes as a team anyway. But I remember pre-season, and I think it was against either Dortmund. No, I think it was definitely against Dortmund. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka in that game alone must have made about 3 or 4 mistakes where he just give it to Dortmund on the transition. And I remember that obviously Dortmund have got players like Adeyemi and, you know, quick, ruthless players near the top of the park. And I just remember watching it saying, what are we doing here? That's one thing for sure. Like, sometimes people say preseason doesn't really matter or whatever, But when you're getting, you know, battered in preseason and making stupid mistakes, that's when you look at that. These lads aren't prepared at all. For this season. So, yeah, stupid mistakes has been a reoccurring theme, especially on the show, on pros and cons, but in every game, likewise as well. So, that is on the negative list. Let's go into another negative, and this is another one that's been repetitive, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, but again, I'm sure people would agree with this. Another cutback goal. Another cutback goal. How many of these have we conceded this season? My God. Exact replica of the Gnabry goal that Bayern Munich scored. Exact replica. And again, that's happened so many times. I think Brighton scored 2 cutback goals against us. I'm pretty sure Ødegaard scored a cutback goal against us. All season, it's been happening. And I don't know what it is. It's like all of our players seem to like gravitate towards the ball rather than having that kind of defensive discipline and positional awareness to say, you know, drop back. It's like none of them ever expect it. Do you know what I mean? It's bizarre to me. The structure, positional awareness, like I said, is all over the place. And we're probably going to concede more towards the end of the season. But again, I'm going to go through this full season with a fine-tooth comb, yeah. And I'm going to look at every single game we've played and look at how many cutbacks we've conceded, because it is 100% definitely double figures. Definite. Like, I'm sure of that. I've just named about 5 or 6 off the top of my head, so I know there's plenty more where that came from. But again, repetitive behaviour. If you keep doing the same things and expect different results, that is the definition of insanity. I suppose that's what it's saying. It. Rye saying Eriksen and Casemiro are killing us in the midfield. They really are. I mean, Casemiro played centre back yesterday. He weren't in the midfield, but I take your point because he's notorious for it as well. Casemiro, Eriksen as well. Oh my god, you know them two. I always reference it when we do our kind of post-match reviews. I'm saying them two are just like they're in the next Jurassic Park. They are dinosaurs. They're so slow. Eriksen, we know, can only last like 50, 60 minutes. I actually referenced The Walking Dead the other day, and I had to kind of take it back. So I was like, oh shit, because everything happened with Eriksen. I obviously didn't mean it like that. I was just saying, like, you know, how slow he is getting back. It's he's quite literally a zombie. So yeah, cutbacks. Another day, another cutback for Manchester United. What have we got next on the negative list? I am going to dive into positives and news towards the end as well. So please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. We're on 4,820 subs. We're 180 or 5k. If you can subscribe to the channel, it'd be absolutely amazing. If you're on TikTok, the link is in the description. Head over to YouTube. We've got some graphics on there as well. Or just stay on TikTok if you can't be asked. It's absolutely fine. Wasteful. Wasteful in front of goal. So wasteful. And Garnacho was, you know, kind of pivotal in this. Not pivotal, sorry. He was a big... what's the word I'm looking for? A big example of this, let's just say. Indecisive in front of goal. Finishing boots not on at the minute. I mean, let's pull up Garnacho stats, actually. We've got live graphics and stuff. Why can't we get live stats? Let's pull his stats up from yesterday. So we'll go on SofaScore. Because I am sure he must have had about 5 or 6 shots on target, probably, and off target. Let's have a look. Garnacho. Sorry, it's a bit of a break in the show from the norm, but who cares? Statistics. Right, let's have a look. Sheffield. Continue. No, I don't want the fucking SofaScore app. I just want to see this. Thank you very much. Right, let's have a look. I'll be shocked if it's shots on target 5. 5 shots on target he had. There was the one opportunity where he should have hit it first time. It's in his path. The goal's right in front of him. He chooses to dummy, tries being a little bit smart, and then messes the chance up. And Garnacho usually is pretty clinical. He's been pretty decent for the majority of the season. But yeah, he missed a couple of big chances yesterday, and it doesn't always help, especially when you're already 1-0 down or 2-1 down or whatever it was at the time. Diego Dallo had a 1v1, which he completely messed up. Again, didn't have the awareness to see who was coming from behind him, and completely fluffed his lines, and it ended up going wide. So yeah, look, people will argue that we're scoring a lot of goals at the moment. We're also conceding a shitload of goals at the same time, as many goals as we're scoring. Hence why our goal difference is 1 at the minute. We've finally got a positive goal difference for the first time in God knows how long. But yeah, the lads need to be way more clinical, because if you can't, you know, we're not going to keep clean sheets the way we're playing at the minute. So you almost have to outscore teams, almost like what Klopp was doing. You know, at a certain stage when he had like Mignolet in there and these kind of guys. So yeah, we need to be a lot more clinical. I think that goes without saying. And the last negative we have on the list, like I just said, conceding too many goals. Conceding way too many goals. 50 goals conceded in the Premier League for Manchester United this season. Unacceptable. 1.52 goals per match. Onana's had to make 125 saves. We've had 4 errors leading to goals in the Prem alone. Reinforcements 100% needed. Who they bring in, I don't know. I'd like to know who everyone else would bring in, who's in the chat, in the YouTube. I've not even got the YouTube chat up. 1 second, let me pull it up. Sorry, guys. There we go. That Bogle is a right wing back. Okay. Frimpong in the summer. Matt Whiffer, Amadou Onana in the summer. Interesting choices. Yeah, I don't know who we would go for, to be honest with you. I think Branthwaite, I've been back and forth on him. He had a really good performance against Liverpool yesterday, which looked promising. It looks like Everton going to stay up, which I'm happy for. I'm actually like Everton. It's a bit of a second team for me in a weird way. I don't know why. But maybe it's just because they hate Liverpool as well. Maybe it's some kind of form of unison there. But I like Branthwaite. Maybe that's someone who United will look at. I like Amadou Onana, but then I just don't want to go, cherry picking fucking Everton's team. So I like Amadou Onana. I've always loved De Jong. I've always said if there is an option that we can get him, which reports suggesting, it might be an option, I would look at someone like De Jong. But then would a midfielder De Jong and Mainu work? I'm not entirely sure. Striker, I would get Benjamin Sesko from Leipzig. I think he's a top player, and he would provide perfect competition for Højlund. Frimpong, for me, looks like a bit of not a tap-in. I was going to say tap-in, that's completely the wrong word. But Frimpong looks like a target. You look at the release clause. Sesko's got release clauses as well. But Bayer Leverkusen have just won the league. So it's not going to be easy to get him out of there. But whatever way you look at it, we need players in that back line. We need players, We're not going to have Johnny Evans for another season, are we? Expect him to play. I'm not sure what's going to happen with Maguire. The positives you can look at him, and I'm going to discuss Maguire in a moment, he's only driving his price up, whichever way you look. If he stays, I don't know if people will be happy about that or not. But if not, the way he's been performing recently, his value's going up. So that's absolutely fine. But reinforcement, everyone knows, and I'm not telling you anything new. Everybody knows we need new players, and we need quality. We need quality in that back line, and we need players to stay fit as well. If we're to have a good season, it's all good bringing in new players, but the ones that we've got, like the Sandro, Shaw, these kind of guys, need to stay fit. It is absolutely pivotal that they do. So, yeah, conceding way too many goals, that is the last negative that I'm going to discuss. I'm going to get on to the positives now. Are we ready? The most obvious positive from last night, I think the majority of people would agree. Bruno Fernandez, magical last night. Sometimes I've absolutely slated him on this. Not slated him, that sounds bad, but I've been one of his biggest critics this season because I wanted more from him. I've been frustrated with the way he's been performing. But if you look at him yesterday, the left-footed banger that he scored, that was like the old Bruno. That was like the Bruno we brought in under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who was just banging him from outside the box, left, right. Some of the assists that he would do was really, really good. And we got all of that in a full package last night. The composure for the penalty, fantastic. The awareness for the assist with Rasmus Højlund was really, really good. To give a little look over his shoulder, played the perfect pass on a difficult kind of spin. His movement for others as well, and the movement, that's something that a lot of people don't notice. When you're watching a game, you'll notice the goals, the assists, the great tackles and that kind of stuff, but people don't really see the off-the-ball movement, like the unselfish, for when he moves out of place for Højlund, or he makes an overlapping run to drag certain players, like his movement for others is really good. He's moving in behind as well. Dalot found him, obviously, with that great pass. He created 9 chances, the most ever for him in a Premier League game, I think. I think he broke a record for that and pulled everyone throughout the game together as a captain. That is what I want from Bruno Fernandez. Now, people may come back at you and say, it's Sheffield United, what you're talking about. And, that's valid. They are a team at the bottom of the league. They've conceded 88 goals. They've been shit all season. So, it's okay for him to turn up in that game, but he does need to turn up in the big games as well. I think that's fair to say, but I will give him his flowers when they're due. Likewise with this man, Harry Maguire. He has been in great form, hasn't he, recently? Fantastic form. Just got some stats here for you. So, Maguire's game by numbers versus Sheffield. 100% aerial duels won, 100% ground duels won, 100% tackles won, 92 passes completed, 91 pass accuracy, 1 penalty won, and 1 goal scored last night. That's 2 goals in 2 consecutive games for Harry Maguire. He has been a rock amongst eroding debris. Solid all around, comfortable on the ball, been, like I said, one of the shining lights really in the past couple of weeks when we've been absolutely dog turd. So, yeah, he's definitely on the positive list. Surprised me a lot, actually, because I remember a period when he was captain, especially towards the latter stages of Ollie's kind of tenure. My God, he was like, yeah, everybody. I never, ever want the abuse that people get. Never. Especially when you take it personal. Criticism, absolutely, because he was terrible. He was making mistakes left, right, and centre. It seems like now the captain's armband has been taken off him. He seems to have elevated his performances. And I'm buzzing for him. I'm happy. You can only be happy when, you got to back your own players, haven't you? And like I said and referenced before, that is only going to drive his value up. So, regardless whether he stays, whether he goes, I don't know what's going to happen with the centre-back situation because so many can be sold. You can see if you're watching on YouTube now on the news ticker, All these players below, Rashford, Martial, Sancho, Casemiro, Eriksen, Amrabat, Lindelof, Varane, Maguire, all these guys could be up for sale in the summer. So there is going to be a big overhaul, going into that. But yeah, Maguire's been fantastic, so absolutely buzzing for him. Rightio, the next positive. Højlund back on the scoring sheet. Thank God. Thank God, because he's been in a bit of a drought since coming back from injury. Hasn't scored since Luton. I think he scored a double against Luton, didn't he? Which seems like a world away now. Will do him, obviously, a world of good for his confidence. Every striker needs goals, regardless of situation. Will he break his Atalanta record? Because I think he got 9 goals and 4 assists there last season. So you would think with better players around him, he should be scoring more. But at the same time, is he getting as much service as he was for the Italian team? The one thing I want to see from Rasmus, he's very raw at the moment. I think people got a little bit carried away when he went on that run and won, Premier League Team of the Season, which I was not Team of the Season, sorry, Player of the Month. I've got FIFA on my mind. When he won Player of the Month, and I thought a little bit people getting carried away, including myself. It's not his fault, but I still want him. I still expect more from him in a game. Can he step up? Can he be that next world-class striker that Watkins, Haaland, Kane? World-class gets thrown around a bit too much when you're mentioning names like Ollie Watkins. But this season, he has been fucking class. You look at his assist and goals record. He's been one of the best forwards in the league, and the Premier League's the toughest one, right? So on a world stage, and he's been doing well in Europe for Aston Villa as well. But I'm just saying, can he get to that level and that level of consistency? It'd be nice to see, because right now he's at a 9 to 10 goal striker. You need to double them figures if you want to be a full-time striker for Manchester United. But also, I think as well, when you bring in more forwards and push that kind of competitive edge, we'll start seeing a better player there. Because he's had to play every minute almost, because he's the only striker fit and available. Right, let's move on to the next one. Let's move on. Let's have a look. We have, of course, Weatley's debut. Absolutely buzzing for him. After the goals he scored against Man City in the final, they've won the league, they've won the cup double, and made his Man United debut, in the same week. Special. And I think the club put out a tweet saying, a special landmark for the bedrock of our football club, Ethan Weatley has become United's Academy 250th graduate, which is something to be proud of. I'm I'm proud of it. I think you look at the history and heritage of this club, it is absolutely built on youth, courage, and success. And there was a couple of quotes coming out from the game yesterday. He said this from Ethan Weatley himself. It's a big club with a huge history, especially when it comes to the academy. It's an honour to make my debut. I was a little nervous, but also excited. Bruno pulled me to the side and told me I've got 9 minutes to try and get you a goal. But yeah, regardless of whichever way you look at it, it is always a proud day, whatever he goes on to do in his career. I'm buzzing for him. And I think that we've got a lot of talented youngsters at the club at the moment who, if they come into the right environment, like anything, right? If you water the plant correctly, they will grow. But if you bring them into this kind of, even this system at the minute that Ten Hag's playing, where it's a bit erratic, it's a bit chaotic, you look at Cobbe. I think that's gone a little bit under the radar. He's just been planted into that midfield at the age of 18, 19 years old and just said, Peacock, go and play, lad. I'm buzzing with the players that we've got. I think the future is interesting if we can get the right senior experience quality around them. I think it's very exciting for the future, but we're not there just yet. It's going to take a couple of years to get there. But fair play to Ethan Weatley. I thought, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Right, the conclusion for the pros and cons then, and then we'll get on to the news. Look, was never a blockbuster of a game. United fans didn't know what to expect coming into this one. First half was concerning, but eventually our quality showed through, which it should do with the players that we have on display in comparison to, Sheffield United. How significant it'll be in terms of points on the board, I'm not entirely sure. But we know Arsenal play Spurs in the North London derby. Maybe Spurs will drop points there, who are currently 7 points behind. Newcastle dropped points to Crystal Palace on the road, so it was good. We got the points in the bag. But again, it's how significant is that? Because I was speaking to Sam yesterday after the game, and I was looking at the games we've got left. I think we've got Burnley, Palace, Arsenal, Newcastle, Brighton, and then City, I think off the top of my head. The Burnley game, is anyone confident you're going to go and win that? I'm not. Crystal Palace are flying at the minute. That's the game that worries me the most, almost. They are killing teams, beat Newcastle, beat Liverpool. They are flying, and I really like their coach. And Eze and Elise and these guys, Mateta's flying for them as well. That's going to be a very tough game. Newcastle are in the same position for us. Again, that's going to be feisty. Brighton are always a problem. We always struggle against Brighton as well. And then Arsenal at the Emirates. So, look, it's all right to win for now because we haven't, I know we beat Coventry, but that was questionable in itself. Before that, we drew 3 and lost 3, I think it was. So the record hasn't been great. But we've got one last push for the Europa League and then the FA Cup final to play for. And it's a disappointing end to the season, but we don't have any other option now than to just go for it, right? Do what we can do, push until the end of the season. I feel like watching Man United at this stage now kind of reminds me a little bit of the end of the 2018-19 season where the team's form was just poor. The players look physically done. They look mentally done. Yeah, it just has that feeling about it. I don't know what it is, but you can kind of tell, can't you? Not like the players have given up, but it does feel as though, it's mostly done in it until the FA Cup final, and there's a little bit of lack of confidence, a little bit of lack in the performance. And yeah, they're not down in tools, but it's almost getting to that point in it. I think the majority of United fans just kind of just want the season to end, including myself. So yeah, I would love to know everybody else's thoughts on the games. So do get your comments in, whether you're on YouTube, on TikTok, or watching this later on. Thank you for the gift, man. Appreciate that, brother, for the Viking horn. And yeah, make sure you do subscribe. How many subs are we on? We're 180 or 5k. So if you can subscribe to the channel, just click the link in the description. That'd be absolutely amazing. We are going to dive into the news show now. So Jason Wilcox being kind of a big talking point within this last kind of news segment. But you can see, like I mentioned before, on the news ticker, a lot of players, multiple players could leave Manchester United this summer. And the list of players that are being mentioned are Antony, Marcus Rashford for the right price, Anthony Martial, Jadon Sancho, Casemiro, Christian Eriksen, Sofiane Amrabat, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Raphael Varane, Victor Lindelof, and Harry Maguire. However, it would be unrealistic to bring in as many players. There will be those who will stay by default. So obviously, they're not going to get rid of all of them, but they are players that we're looking at. Well, we can listen to offers, and I don't disagree with any of them, to be honest. Like Varane, if we could get him on a lower wage, I would potentially look at that and think maybe. Antony, I'd sell in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Rashford, again, I think if you offered 70, 80 million quid for it, if PSG, let's say, for example, came in and offered 60 to 70 million quid for him, I'd probably take it because I think it could be invested in a better way. Anthony Martial, my God, yeah, take him for free. Sancho, the same. Casemiro, legs are falling off, get rid of him. Christian Eriksen, exact same situation. Amrabat hasn't worked out. Wan-Bissaka's questions, I'd prefer Frimpong in that spot. And then you've got Raphael Varane, who we've already touched on. Victor Lindelof, who I don't mind as a third option, actually. I'd probably keep Lindelof. And then Maguire as well. You probably, if you can get 40, 50 million quid for him, you look at him, he's like 30 now. 31, so absolutely I'd take that money for him. Let him go to West Ham and let him kind of peacock and flourish there. So that's just my opinions, but yeah. 31 different back four combinations don't help clean sheets. I agree, Red Nation, 100%. Grooverberg says keep Aaron Wan-Bissaka, definitely. I wouldn't, personally. Sam said this last night as well. I disagree. I wouldn't keep Wan-Bissaka. I think you look at someone like Frimpong, who, again, people can question, maybe in a back five, might not suit it. Not really seen him in back four, but from what I've seen from him in terms of going forward, he's dangerous, he's quick, he's good on the ball, and Wan-Bissaka is very limited in my opinion. Great 1v1 defender, but if you're trying to play a proactive, direct game, he's not your wing back that you need. I would bring in someone like a Frimpong. So, as I always reference, guys, I think this summer's going to be absolutely fascinating. I really, really do. There was reports last night that Jason Wilcox was asking for a possession-based football. And the game last night, whether it was true or not, Ten Hag's possession, not 10x possession, he didn't fucking play the game, but the team's possession last night was 72%. That was only the second time this season United have had 70+% possession, which is nice to see in a sense. I know it was still a bit of a cagey game, but it wasn't as frantic as we've seen some of the games against Luton, Bournemouth, and these kind of guys. So, yeah, I just wanted a little bit of control, like we saw against Coventry for 70 minutes, and then it just went the shit at the pan in it. So it was nice to see that. But again, recruitment, strategy, systems, all of that is going to be in discussion for the summer. I think it's fascinating. I can't wait to see what Ineos do. Can't wait to just get to the end of the season. We can watch the Euros and hopefully win something there, which may be a little bit optimistic in itself. But yeah, that is the latest news. That is the live pros and cons for you guys. Again, if you're watching this later, please do leave a like on the video for us. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys later on for the 7 o'clock show. Make sure you come and join us. Appreciate you all in the TikTok as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys.